Welcome to the Andy Staples Show presented by Sling. Happy Ari Wasserman Christmas, everybody. Quinn Ewers, I believe still the highest rated recruit in the history of the 24/7 composite because somebody tweaked Arch Manning's rating, is now QB1 for the Texas Longhorns. How you feeling, Ari?
I'm back in, baby.
Oh, he's holding up the hook'em. They beat it out of him last year. I think it was you abandoned him in the Arkansas game, didn't you? Wasn't that when you bailed?
No,
I'm
still off the train, but I do think that this is the right move. I'm not going to be back on the Texas train until they do it. I made that promise, and if they win the Big 12 and actually are back, then I'll claim they're back. I'm not going to ever say that they're back before again. No more predictions. I've looked like an idiot too many times, but I do think, Andy, and you made this comment before we came on the show that didn't we expect this to happen? And I don't know that was the case. There was a lot of Hudson Card, and I don't know if it was like a made-up message board or whatever, but a lot of Hudson Card noise happening on Twitter.
Do it? Was sliced
I don't
bread
know. It might have been sliced
QB1
bread or
misinformation.
Sliced bagel did it. I don't know. But unless Hudson Card was head and shoulders better than Quinn Ewers, how do you possibly, from a PR standpoint, even start him if you're the coach? So that's the number one thing. But the other thing, too, is that as fans of the sport, this is just inherently more compelling television for us now.
Well, Quinn Ewers has the lettuce. He has the kombucha sponsorship. Mm-hmm. He still has the kombucha sponsorship, right? That wasn't limited to Ohio State.
I think he still has it, yes. And will you just, I don't know, before we're done here, explain to me what kombucha tea is, please?
I don't know that I can explain it.
Okay.
It tastes terrible. I know that. And if anybody who makes kombucha wants to buy an ad on this podcast, I will change my mind and tell you it tastes amazing. But my experience with it so far has not been great.
I guess it clears your insides, which is, what Quinn Ewers is going to do to the Texas soul.
Oh,
he's going to clear it.
So you're saying Quinn Ewers is a flush, essentially.
It's a flush of all the bad toxins that were kind of hindering Texas from becoming what it is or what it should be. And he is going to start at quarterback, and he's going to be the reason why Texas is back. So like as Cole said in the chat here, that all the chatter was that Card would be the guy. And to me, I thought that was incredibly boring. And obviously, you know what my temperament is. And
what makes this even more exciting is if he's really good, Arch Manning is coming next year.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have another controversy.
A wise man once told me that you play to win the game. You know what I mean? So if Card was much better than
Quinn,
that
wise man also say nobody's doing official visits because of COVID, let's bring some recruits in?
No, you were the wise man.
Oh, okay.
When you ruled against me with Ralph Russo and me saying build for the future. But to me, I think this is a pretty good news for a Texas fan too, because it states that maybe Quinn is a little bit further along than people would have thought he was at this point. I mean, when you think about his career here, he hasn't been through an entire fall camp in his entire career, and now he's the starter of Texas football. So, it's just it's an interesting dynamic, because you could make the case that, hey, well, even if Quinn Ewers is really, really good, the man hasn't been in the same system. He hasn't been in the same program for a year yet. He hasn't gone through an entire fall camp, and he's already starting there. So, this is either colossal Texas mess up, which is interesting for us, or it's a colossal sign of good times to come, because that means that their 5-star quarterback, who was the number 1 overall player in his class, is good enough to play this early in his career. So the one thing I do know is that we all win because we get to watch it, no matter however it turns out. If it's a disaster, it's going to be awesome. And Eric says, quick, Ari, get me a cigarette. I'm already through 4 menthols since this tweet started. So, we're in Tahoe right now, and supposed to be breathing in the fresh air and being holistic and whatever. Just give me that.
No, instead you're texting me going, we got to do an emergency podcast because Quinn Ewers is QB1.
Well, I missed you, man. And I thought that this was we're a week and a half away from actual football, maybe even less than a week. Saturday is on. So, we're talking about some football here. And what's your take on this? I mean, are you for it? Are you kind of surprised? I mean, because you've always kind of been even Steven with this. Everyone always makes fun of me about oh, he's obsessed with Quinn or whatever. But do you like it?
Well, if all things are equal, you go with the younger guy. If all things are equal, you go with the bigger recruit. These are just sort of general rules for life. And,
right.
I think Hudson Card, unfortunately, had a little bit of a strike against him already because he started as the opening day starter last year and then got benched for Casey Thompson.
Right.
And if Sark does that again and then has to do it again, has to make the switch again, then you get into definition of insanity territory. And you start to wonder, can this guy manage quarterbacks? And
yeah,
I don't think we're going to ask that question right now. We'll see how they do. Now, I will say, Hudson Card, please don't transfer. Don't do it. Stay, because somebody may have to also play for Texas, because everything you've heard about their offensive line, at least the guys that are planning to play this year, I know there's a bunch of good freshmen that they've signed that other really good schools wanted, but they're freshman offensive linemen. Nobody relies on freshman offensive linemen. Please don't rely on freshman offensive linemen. But what I'm saying is, whoever is a starting quarterback at Texas, and it's going to be Quinn Ewers, there is a chance he's going to be hit quite a bit. The backup may have to come in and play. So if you're Hudson Card, don't go into the portal now. Wait until the end of the season, because things may happen.
I mean, they do play Alabama in week 2, so
that's what I'm saying.
Which will be maybe the most exciting game in the non-conference that I'm looking forward to this year, which might be saying something
you
now.
Think that game is going to be exciting? Good. I'm glad you said that.
No, I'm excited to watch it. I didn't say it was going to be an exciting finish.
You just want to watch it?
Yeah, I mean, people watch UFC. Why can't I watch that?
That's true, but that strikes me as a UFC fight where one guy just walks up to the other one and knocks him out cold.
Isn't that like the highest rated like YouTube video rewatches of UFC? True. I'm not a very big MMA fighting. Kick. I actually find like actual like fighting to be kind of archaic. Archaic's not the right word. It's just gruesome to me. And if anybody knows anything about me, I'm kind of a wuss when it comes to that sort of thing. So I don't enjoy watching someone get hurt. But people love it. So, and the number one thing that people like watching are knockouts. I love
MMA. I don't like seeing people when they get an arm barred and they actually break their arms. I don't like seeing that, but I do enjoy MMA more than boxing. And I say that as someone who understands the skill level and the science behind boxing and how hard it is to do. I still like seeing people able to kick each other.
I like boxing better because, and the word wasn't archaic that I was looking for, was barbaric.
Yeah.
I think that it's just a little bit too much for me. But, the thing that's interesting about this Texas thing, Andy, is like now you have a situation where, hey, how much do you think that Sark had to give into like the public opinion of what is happening here?
If you're making that many millions of dollars to coach football, if you are basing in a decision on public opinion, quit now.
I know, but is there a pressure or an expectation from people of this is the way things should look? Because I know he makes a ton of money and you have to make uncomfortable, unpopular decisions as the coach at times, but you'd be a fool to think that he has to take this into account about like what this means for the stature of his job or what this means for the direction of the program.
That's where you get the all things equal situation. That's where it's easy to default to all things equal. You go with the younger guy with the higher ceiling, recruiting hype, all that stuff. But let's get to the real question here. Nick Terry, why do I think there's a scent of one Tate and Martell in Ewers? Tell me why I'm wrong. Ari, you covered the recruitment of one Tate and Martell at Ohio State.
I did.
Any similarities?
Well, I mean, I think people are making the case because both Tate and
other
Quinn
than fabulous hair.
Yeah, both had great hair and kind of had like that rock star persona about them and did flip quite a bit. Like I think Tate flipped twice in his recruitment. But yeah. I want to ask Nick an actual question if he's still here. He's probably an Ohio State fan who's a little bit bitter that Quinn isn't on the roster anymore too. Like
why would an Ohio State fan be bitter that Quinn isn't on the roster? They have CJ Stroud, for God's sake.
You don't think that people would be bitter that they got the number 1 overall player in the country and he didn't stay for more than a month or for more than a season?
No, because they have the actual best quarterback in the country.
Have you been to Columbus before?
The NFL. So
people like hold grudges all the time. And the second he transferred, the number 1 comment in Ohio State's sphere was, "Oh, he clearly doesn't have the will to compete, and he's just soft, and he's never gonna," And it's like, I mean, Tate Martell was somebody who was very highly rated coming out of Gorman because he never lost a game, and it was during the Johnny Manziel era, and he could run really well. Like, if Quinn Ewers doesn't pan out, it's because things didn't go his way. But the kid's got a rocket arm. Like Tate had a noodle arm. Like the actual skill set of the way that these two were ranked. I mean, there's a huge gap between where Tate was ranked and where Quinn was ranked, but the skill set and how you have to be good in the current game, Quinn certainly has better, physical measurables as it pertains to that. So
to answer Eric Decker's question, by the way, yes, his full name is actually Tathan.
Yes.
We're not making that up. It is as funny to us as it is to you.
Yeah, so Nick Terry is half right OSU alum. Hope that Quinn Ewers is successful. Just the similarities are too much to ignore. And I get that. What are the similarities? The similarities are how they behaved off the field or the decisions they made before they ever played.
The rock star persona. I think that's what it is. It's they came with a lot of hype, and at least at Ohio State did not deliver on that. Now Martell also didn't deliver on it in Miami, and has since not become a starting Division I quarterback. He just never worked out for him.
Yeah, but I think Quinn is too good to never be a non-starter at the Power 5 level. It turned out that Tate never even played at quarterback at a Power 5 level anywhere, and I don't think that'll be the case for Quinn. And I'm very curious.
Well, no, Quinn's going to start against Louisiana Monroe, so he's
that's right. It's already going to happen. So, and I think it's a really encouraging thing if you're a Texas fan, not only for the excitement of the program and where it's directed, but like the actual ceiling. Like for me as a fan of the sport, the reason why I'm down on multiple year starters returning to take the job is when you already know what somebody is. And I got to say that Card is a good player. I don't think he's bad, but when you know the ceiling of who Card is and what he's brought to the table in the past, that doesn't really mesh with the dreams and the grandeur of what could actually happen if Quinn Ewers is awesome. Has anybody taken a step back and actually considered, besides making fun of me for liking him too much, that he actually could just be an awesome quarterback that was rated number 1 overall and it actually elevates Texas? What if that happens? We have to consider that.
I'm assuming people listening here are complete college football psychos like us who know the whole Quinn Ewers story, but just in case you don't, Quinn Ewers was, like we said, the highest ranked recruit in the 24/7 composite era. He played for a big school in the Dallas Metroplex, was very good there, and was going to play his senior year there. NIL comes in. The state of Texas, in its infinite wisdom, decides it is not going to allow high school players to take NIL deals. 15 states have since decided they are going to allow that, but Texas, not one of those. So instead of playing his senior year, because he had all these deals on the table because he was committed to Ohio State. He had been committed to Texas before that. Big time recruit, clearly in demand, obviously a market for it. He's like, I'm going to reclassify and go to college where I can take NIL deals. So he reclassifies, goes to Ohio State. CJ Stroud winds up winning the starting job last year. CJ Stroud happens to be freaking awesome. CJ Stroud may be the number 1 pick in the 2023 draft. There was no sense in staying at Ohio State, so he transferred to Texas. Go on.
But I don't think that he went to Ohio State thinking that he was going to start this year, because he would have been a true freshman if he didn't reclassify coming into this year.
He went to Texas thinking he was going to start this year, Ari.
Well, sure, but then once he went that way, sure, but when he went to Ohio State, I don't think it was part of the plan of if I don't beat out CJ Stroud, then I'm leaving. Because he would have been in a perfect position at Ohio State if he would have just sat this year.
Would he still be there if CJ Stroud had not locked down that job? If this season was a CJ Stroud versus Jack, and I realize Jack Miller has now gone on to Florida, and that just
it would have been Kyle McCord.
Kyle McCord. One of those guys, and then Devin Brown's the other one, the guy from Utah who just got there,
I don't know that he would be on the roster still.
Okay, so that's the question. I don't have any problem with the way Quinn Ewers handled that because, again, it was a very unique situation.
And I feel like I would have done the same thing, Andy. Would you have done the same thing?
Absolutely. Had NIL not come in 2021, let's say NIL didn't start until 2022, Quinn Ewers would have played high school football in 2021.
Right. So, what he did at Ohio State, I think, really, if you look at it, is probably more of a get paid sooner strategy. But the thing that is interesting is I'd wonder how much Quinn Ewers actually made at Ohio State and whether or not that money was worth burning his one-time transfer, because he burned his transfer before he should have ever even been in college.
Yeah, but
now he doesn't have the ability to.
They're working on the rules that it might not even be a one-time transfer by the time all this is over.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But in the time that he made that decision, it's however much money he made from kombucha tea had to outweigh the get out of jail free card.
Did you see the sweet truck he got to drive in Columbus?
Yeah, the awesome lease that he got to drive for like 9,000 miles a year and like couldn't keep it. Yeah, I don't know why people think those are so cool. Like, I'm not saying driving a college kid.
You
doesn't want
don't
to drive
think he
nice
got
car.
a truck when he got to Austin?
No, I know he got a truck, but that's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with anything that he like got there. Like, that's just like a thing. Like, I don't know if that's a decision make. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I was 17.
I like nice trucks. Sorry. So that would make me happy.
like nice trucks too that belong to me. Like, I don't know if like that, it doesn't belong to him. It's like having a rental car.
If it doesn't belong to me and I don't have to pay for it, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I don't know. Maybe we're getting off track here.
All right. No, Ari, we've got to move on. So this is very interesting because Texas is such an interesting situation this year. They are loaded at the skill positions. Now, I realize they just lost Isaiah Nair to an injury. He was the receiver transfer from Wyoming, but they're still pretty well stocked there. Xavier Worthy is a very, very good wide receiver one. Bijan Robinson may be the best back in the country. We'll see what Quinn Ewers is.
He's got his own mustard. So,
well, we're going to talk about that. The line is a huge question mark. The offensive line is a massive question mark. The defense is a massive question mark. They were 5-7 last year. They lost to Kansas.
They did.
This is going to increase expectations. I don't know that it should. Arch Manning is committed. There's so many subplots around here. But Ari, I want you to put your stomach where your mouth is. So this is Bijan Mustardson. This is Bijan Robinson's Dijon Mustard. Bijan. It's like a touchdown in your mouth, according to the bottle. Ari, according to BetMGM, Alabama is a 17.5-point favorite against Texas in week 2. We can wait and see what they lock the line in at during the week of the game. But I will put this out to you now. If Alabama covers, you must eat an entire bottle of Bijan Mustardson. And if Alabama does not cover, I must eat an entire bottle of Bijan Mustardson.
But I want to bet Bama.
Well, of course you want to bet Bama. But don't you love Quinn Ewers?
I'll do this deal. I don't know if I could eat that entire. Okay, I guess I'll have to.
Oh, no. I'm not done.
Okay.
You have a choice. You can eat it plain, or you can put it on something. But you have to eat so much of that something that you exhaust the entire bottle.
Okay, can we do Quinn Ewers touchdown passes?
Against Alabama?
Against Alabama?
Over under 3?
I was thinking 1.5. He throws 2
What
touchdowns.
happened? You used to have faith in Quinn Ewers. What happened to you?
I have faith in him. I just don't have faith that he'll have a second to throw it in that game. Okay, so it's a 17.5 point. Okay, I'll take the points. That's fine.
All right. And again, if
we're going
to
get that anyway. Where do I find that? On the internet?
It's on BetMGM.
Okay. No, I'm talking about the mustard.
Oh, I think that might be an HEB, or it might be, Austin, the birthplace of Whole Foods. Maybe it's that. I will find a bottle of this. I kind of just want to try it. I'm a big fan. I mean,
it probably tastes like Dijon mustard. I like mustard.
I'm a big fan of fancy mustards.
That's a lot. That's a lot of mustard.
Yes, as Catherine Briley puts it, y'all, that's so much mustard. What's the time frame?
Vile.
No, I don't think we're not putting a time frame on it. Well, okay, probably like 4 hours or something, but you must finish the entire bottle of mustard.
Do you know how disgusted Britt was when she saw me eating that chip? She couldn't even look at me. You're really coming out of the gates with this? Week 2?
Do you know how disgusted my bride Anne has been at pretty much everything I've done since we got married in 2001?
Yeah.
Get used to it.
Okay. I know. She was like, because I had milk and I was in the shower after it, and she like walked in and she's like, "You're disgusting." Because I was drinking the half.
Wait till she sees this.
Can you picture me after eating that chip and with cold water in the shower while drinking like with milk in my hand?
I will
That's
say
what my wife had to see.
We didn't do this when I was playing football, but when I covered high school football for the Tampa Tribune, there was a school where the athletic trainer at the school swore by mustard as a cramp relief agent. And so if a kid started cramping on the field, they'd bring him to the sideline, stretch him out, and like start shooting French's yellow mustard into their mouths.
That didn't work.
I imagine you're never going to get a cramp if
Yeah. Okay.
If Alabama
So I get
covers.
17.5, or do we want to wait for what the line? I want 17.5, but I want
you get at least 17.5. If the line moves up, you can have that too.
Okay, I will take that bet. And Quinn better not let me down. I think this is exciting for college football. I think it's exciting for Texas fans. I think it's the right thing to do. I even think you could make the case that I would start Quinn over Card if he was 10% worse, which probably makes your head explode a little bit. But if it's within comparable situations, then you get the kid the chance to flourish and then gets better through the season. What if he's awesome? I think that should be the episode name. What if he is awesome? Because we know what Card is, we don't know what Quinn is. Well, Texas is transforming. You transform with your quarterback.
If Quinn Ewers is awesome, it will be a touchdown in my mouth.
Yeah,
if he's not, it will be a touchdown in your mouth. Either way, there's going to be a touchdown in our mouths.